Woo! It's just awesome. I'm so glad we went. Didn't go to work. We'd be sitting there going, God, we should have gone fishing.
Hey, welcome everybody to the Salty Yak podcast, where we talk saltwater kayak fishing most of the time. And today, we got a little bit of most of the time for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm your host, Kerry Beeson, and with us today, we have the gaff top guru,
Nicholas Beeson,
and also my youngest son. So we've got some good feedback. They like Nicholas on the podcast. They said he had a really good voice. So, hey, I brought him back.
No, thank y'all.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about, we're going to lead off with, we talk about most of the time. Today I'm going to give you a little insight on my recent muzzlerloader soiree that I did. Yeah, I'm getting a muzzleloader. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So muzzleloader, we'll talk about, got a listener question of transporting your kayak.
Mm-hmm. How
do you get it from the house to the boat ramp?
We'll go into that.
And we're going to talk a little bit about white bass fishing.
It's a good time of year.
It's that time. It's starting. So we'll talk about that.
Yep.
We're going to talk a little bit about tackle management, or the lack thereof of tackle management.
We're
going to have our second mystery guest on the podcast.
Wonder who it could be.
Who knows? It could be you. Actually, I guess it couldn't be you. You're here.
I don't think that'd work.
We have a hot tip for y'all. We're going to talk some about our Freeze Your Yak Off, Salty Yak Pack, little friendly team fishing tournament.
Should be fun.
And we're going to wrap it up with, give y'all some dates. If y'all want to come fishing with us as a group, give y'all some dates that you can put on your calendar and do that. And I'll start making a list of people's names. So let's start off. First of all, just want to give a shout out to some people, some of the listeners. We have made contact with the outside world.
We have?
We have.
Oh, boy.
We have made contact with our first New York listener. So, a Texas-based podcast, and we have our first confirmed New York listener. And he's actually, I'll give you his name here in a little while. He's actually the guy who's giving us our hot tip.
Really?
Yeah. Actually giving us a hot tip. So, New York, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia. We had one, California. So we are now, the Salty Yak Pack is coast to coast. We did a little thing the other day where we found out we were rated like number 8. Mm-hmm. Not like in the top 10, but but somebody rated us number 8 in Kayak Fishing Podcast. Was like, holy crap, excuse the language, but without you, the listeners, this wouldn't be possible. I appreciate y'all tuning in and listening to this and having the feedback. I mean, the New York guy, it was just great. Just hearing from these guys going, hey, I love the podcast.
Yeah, tell us what you love. Tell us what you don't like. So maybe we can try to fix it.
So there's we still have not hit 100 reviews.
Seriously?
On iTunes or Apple Podcast, I think is what they call it now.
Oh, yeah, it's Apple Podcast.
So we're close. Do me a favor. You can give a review for every one of the podcasts.
It don't take that long.
And you can just 5 stars or 4 stars. Just an honest rating. Mm-hmm. But if you leave me less than 4, I want to know why.
Yeah.
Send me something. The best way to get in contact with me is thesaltyyak@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Easiest way. We're on Facebook too. We're on Instagram. But that's the easiest way to leave me information or, hey, love the podcast. Hey, hate it. Y'all guys suck. Anyway, but it just blows me away. We're not just Galveston. We're not just Texas coast.
No.
We've got people listening, that are saltwater kayak anglers.
All over the country now.
Coast to coast.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
And we appreciate y'all more than you know.
More than you know, guys. It's awesome.
So let's delve off into, you've got a little thing over there in your hot little hands. What do you got there?
I've got from the United States Coast Guard 10, what would you call these? 10 tips for paddling smart and paddling safe.
I don't know if I'd call it the top 10, but there's certainly things for those of y'all who are new to kayak fishing. Mm-hmm. If this is your first time tuning into the podcast, this is for you. So what do we have for number 1?
So number 1 is what we always close out our podcast with. wear a life jacket.
Or PFD.
Yes, PFD.
Yeah, I got it right.
You got it right.
I got it right.
You got it right.
Yeah, sometimes my dyslexia kicks in and I say PDF. But
Yeah,
PFD, personal flotation device.
Yep, always wear one, no matter what. So one of the things they said was everyone, even strong swimmers, needs to be wearing a life jacket at all times. It's extremely difficult to put one on once you fall into the water. Even a light wind can blow any paddlecraft away from you faster than you can swim.
I mean, I've done triathlons, and if the wind is blowing 5 miles an hour, it would take a very good swimmer to swim 5 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's like Olympic.
Pretty close. So yeah. Now most of the water that we're fishing is shallow, right? But if you fall out, we still cross deeper water.
Yeah.
Point being, don't just put it in your kayak. Put it on your body.
Yeah, because you never know when an accident's going to happen.
Never know. What's number 2?
Number 2, wear activity appropriate leash on a stand-up paddleboard. So
put a leash on your paddle.
On your paddle, or even on a paddleboard, like they have a leash that goes around like your ankle.
Correct.
So if you fall in the water, your board just doesn't go sailing away.
But yeah, even if you're in a pedal kayak, you have a paddle because you might need it.
Yes.
Put a leash on it, because if it comes unattached or you turtle your kayak and all your stuff goes everywhere, your emergency mode of motion doesn't float away.
Yeah, I had whenever I took a trip to Granger, first time taking my PA to Granger, I forgot my paddle.
How did that work out?
Awful. It sucked.
You can, it
worked, but
you can
sucked.
get by, but you always need to have a paddle, even if you have a pedal kayak, and you need to have it leashed.
Yes.
Number 3,
paddle sober and smart. So what they said is don't go paddling if you should not be driving. Coast Guard and state BUI laws apply to all vessels. This includes canoes, kayaks, and rafts.
Good information.
Yep.
We all like to have an occasional, maybe adult beverage.
Yeah.
But, let's save that for when we get back.
Save it when you get back and you're telling stories of that big 30-inch trout that bit you off.
Yeah.
It's probably just a shark.
That fell off or something like that. Yeah. So save the adult beverage for when you get back.
This is a big one for number 4. Stay clear of all other vessels.
You told the story on the last time you were on the podcast.
Exactly.
About the people in the middle of Lake Belton kayaking.
70 feet of water just on middle of June or July. So boats everywhere, and there are no life jackets in the middle of the lake.
You're the slowest, smallest thing out there.
So number 5 is dress for immersion, not air temperature. So what they said is your body loses heat much faster when immersed in cold water than it does when dry. So what it's telling you there is dress for the weather and dress for being, like, if it's cold, dress warm. Like, don't just go out there in blue jeans or whatever if it's 30 degrees, 32 degrees cold.
Lord forbid that you fall in the water. And, it's not that really a big deal for us. I mean, but 50-degree water is cold.
Yeah, it's
and if you if you end up getting, away from your kayak and you've got your PFD on, 50-degree waters, you can get hypothermia. But if you're one of these guys that are fishing New York, South Carolina, California, and you get in the water, that water is cold. They wear wetsuits when they when they surf and do all that other stuff for a reason, because that water is cold.
Oh yeah.
And we also talked about on the last one about taking dry clothes in your dry bag.
Yeah.
So if you get cold, you can get out and you can get into some dry clothes.
Next one, number 6 is check the weather. Something we always do anyways.
And you ought to be checking it religiously.
Yes.
Religiously.
Because there was I remember me, Chris, and Maddie on our first trip to Freeport. I ain't gotta check the weather. 15 plus mile an hour wind, 102 degrees. We were all wearing shorts. There was horrible sunburns, and so just check the weather, dress appropriately.
Know what it's going to do.
Know what it's going to do. Check the tide too.
Oh yeah.
Check the tide so you don't get there and you're trying to take your pedal kayak in 6 inches of water.
And you end up having to use your paddle.
Yeah, but you can probably sight cast reds back there.
What's the next one?
Next one we have number 7 is carry a whistle and a light for night use. So by law, you have to have a 360 white light if you're fishing at night in Texas.
Mm-hmm. On a kayak.
Yep. And a whistle, it's a good thing to have. I mean, to get somebody's attention.
By law, you have to have, in Texas, you have to have a noise-making device.
Oh, really?
Now, that can be a whistle, or it can be an air horn or something else like that. But you have to have, if you're a vessel on the water, you have to have a noise-making device.
Oh, okay.
So that's why you see I have a whistle that's like, it's like tethered to my PFD.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, do you have a whistle? You're kind of looking at me like, maybe I don't.
I can get one.
Okay, there's the answer right there. All right, what's the next one?
Next one is carry a waterproof VHF radio, cell phone only as a backup.
We had this conversation that me and Kevin and Robert, that we all need to have one of those.
I agree.
Because
Lord forbid something happens.
We don't fish and everybody, we don't necessarily follow each other around when we fish. So, we need to have that so you can, if you get in trouble, you can just grab it and key it up and they can hear you. You're not trying to dial somebody's phone number or something like that.
Your phone gets wet and your phone short circuits.
Exactly. Something happens, or you don't have cell service. But those radios, a good waterproof one, probably $80 or $100.
Yeah. It's a good investment.
Your life is worth it.
Definitely.
Your life is worth it. And your buddy's life is worth it.
Mm-hmm. So next we have number 9 is know the local hazards.
Yeah.
So things like what they say is check navigation charts before you launch. Check with those who have local knowledge of man-made and natural hazards like dams, oyster reefs, things like that.
Can you think of a natural hazard? Is there anything that comes to your mind when we talk about fishing in Galveston or around there?
I can think of something.
What?
Oyster.
Okay.
Like an oyster reef.
Oyster can be, but I'm thinking of like a San Luis Pass.
Yep.
There's a reason they don't let people wade fish at San Luis Pass.
Uh-huh.
The current
Current's extremely
sweeps
strong.
people away. It'll do the same thing for kayaks. When Rollover Pass used to be open, Robert will tell you a story. Yeah, he almost died.
Yeah.
There at Rollover Pass one day.
Crazy story.
In his kayak.
Crazy.
So, other things, where we're fishing, from Freeport down to Matagorda, even all the way back to Sabine, there's the intercoastal waterway.
Yep.
And there's barges moving through there.
Oh, yeah.
And, the night when we were fishing that tournament and we launched in the dark.
That's kind of scary.
Things can be deceiving at night.
Oh, yeah.
And you see this barge coming, and if you don't realize it, it can be a lot closer than you think it is.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is a lot bigger than you think it is.
And you ain't getting out of it. So it's moving faster than you think it is.
Oh, yeah.
So there's even out there where we're fishing on the IC or we're crossing the IC, there's hazards. Just be mindful what they are.
Yeah.
So
number 10 is education. So, and this is talking about take a paddling safety course from the U.S. Coast Guard or just get with somebody who knows what they're doing.
Or listen to a podcast.
But it's also, I find it better, like if I have somebody there teaching me, like you did, even though you kind of threw me into the deep end.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, just to me, that would be the best way. Like get with somebody like in the Yak Pack. Like, somebody will be probably more than willing to just help you learn.
And that's what we're there for. If somebody in the Yak Pack reaches out and says, "Hey, I'm going fishing, I'm new to this," there's somebody, if not me, myself, we'll reach out to you and go, "Hey, we're going on this day, come with us and
show you the ropes."
We will show you the ropes. That's the whole point of this podcast in the Yak Pack is to help people and show them the ropes and do it safely and have fun.
Always. Yeah.
So,
that's the goal.
So get education.
Yep.
Listen to the podcast. There you go.
And that is all we got for this.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about I'm not going to call it my new obsession.
It's one of them.
Well, it maybe could be, but it's only 2 weeks long.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Just wait for next year.
So I found out deer season had come to an end on January the 3rd, I believe.
Or so you thought.
Regular general rifle season did.
Okay.
And then, but I still hadn't taken a deer.
Yeah.
For our own.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a sausage deer. But then I found out that 2 weeks of muzzleloader season,
mm-hmm.
and I could shoot 2 does, and I still could shoot 2 bucks if I wanted to.
Yeah.
So I love bow hunting. I've bow hunted a lot.
Yep.
You know, I'm 53 now. I started probably when I was 16. Mm-hmm. So hunted probably, the last couple of years, maybe I've skipped a few years bow hunting, but most of that time I have bow hunted some.
Yes.
The one thing that puts me off a little bit about bow hunting in October,
heat.
It can be hot and it can be mosquito-y. But worse than that,
the deer.
So in Milam County where we hunt, we can only shoot does during bow season.
Yeah.
And those does are raising babies all summer, and they're lactating, and their body condition is not in very good condition.
No.
You could see their ribs.
Yeah.
And
so that you pretty much have to look for a doe that doesn't have a fawn for it to be, in my opinion, worth consideration to take.
And there's just not a whole lot of them out there.
No, it's not.
So, but you're trying to be selective, trying to be good game managers, mm-hmm. right? So, didn't like shooting does in bow season, because it's hot. You got to taking care of the meat, and 2, their body condition wasn't that great.
Mm-hmm.
So, fast forward, we get antler restrictions in Milam County.
Yep.
So now we have doe days where we're allowed to shoot does during like the first 2 weeks of rifle season.
Mm-hmm. And it used to be only like 3 days.
But now they gave us some more.
And now they gave us like 2 weeks.
Yeah. So how many did you shoot during rifle season?
0.
I shot double that. 0. I did not take advantage of it.
Yeah, because, granted for me, I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I assumed, this is me.
You know how to spell assume, right?
Yeah,
okay.
ASS. So I assumed that muzzleloader season, doe days was like it had been the past 3 or 4 years we had it.
Mm-hmm.
3 days, the 3 days, like Thanksgiving Day, the day before, and the day after.
They make this thing called a rule book.
Yeah, and I read for because I hunted in Travis County as well,
mm-hmm.
and I read Travis County, and they're always the same, except this year, because in Milam County they gave you 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of November, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in Travis County, it was still 3 days.
So they hadn't changed it there yet.
No, they hadn't changed it there.
So their body condition is better than it is in October,
mm-hmm.
but it's not that much better.
It's not that much better, but it's better. But
you can shoot them. But so like I said, I did not take advantage of doing that. I think I was probably fishing.
You probably were.
Probably we was fishing.
We
were getting ready for a tournament or something.
Something.
So anyway, didn't take advantage of that. So I actually find out that muzzleloader season starts on January 4th and goes for 2 weeks. And during that muzzleloader season, you can again shoot does.
Yeah.
Whereas you couldn't shoot them in most of the general rifle season.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, holy cow, let's do this. So then I had to find, because, my son used to have a muzzleloader.
I used to have a muzzleloader, but it is, being young, I didn't take great care of it. So it's something I need to clean back up.
So if you didn't know, even if black powder is highly corrosive.
Yup.
You've got to clean. Even if you're using Pyrodex, which is supposed to be a cleaner version of black powder, it is still very corrosive.
Mm-hmm. And that's something 13-year-old Nick did not realize.
I'm sure your father told you.
Oh, I guarantee you told me, and I was, I just thought of it as a deer rifle.
Anyway, so he didn't have, his rifle was not usable, but he did have some of the stuff that goes along with it. The black powder, he had some bullets, some primers. So I start looking for a muzzleloader.
Mm-hmm.
So I find a friend of mine that has a muzzleloader, super nice muzzleloader. Been in his gun safe for 2 years. He had never shot it.
Ooh.
Now, a family friend, I think, had taken it out, sighted it in, and killed a deer with it.
Mm-hmm.
So he loans it to me. And after looking for ammo, which, you would think black powder, it wouldn't be that hard to find. Wrong again. It's just as hard to get as regular rifle and pistol ammo is right now.
Yeah.
So, but Nicholas had some, and so I got it from him. So long story short, I go muzzle loading hunting for my first morning, and I get out there to the deer stand, and I've sighted the weapon in. The weapon shoots right where it's supposed to, and before the even sun comes up, I can tell that I've got deer all around me.
Yeah.
And it gets light enough. I can see I've got a big, huge doe all by herself right out in front of me. Get the muzzleloader out. Bam. Smoke goes off. She goes about 30 yards. Done deal. And I'm like, the night before, I texted Michelle and I was like, I don't know when I've been this excited to go hunting. I was really, really excited to go do this. So I shot that one, and it's like 7:10.
Yeah.
It's still early in the morning. And so I sat there, and about 30 minutes later, 2 more big does come by and filled my limit. Got my limit in 30 minutes.
That's how it goes sometimes.
But when I field dressed those deer, their body condition, they were so fat. There was goo gobs of fat inside and on my knife blade from cleaning them. So I'm like, there's no reason for me to ever shoot another doe during bow season. I'll still bow hunt.
Yeah, because I'm still going to bow hunt regardless because you never know.
But I am going to buy a muzzleloader, and I am going to, those little young bucks or, maybe even a cull buck or a spike, I'm going to let him walk because I know
them big old does
that in muzzleloader season, I can get 2 big old does. Mm-hmm. Do good game management, let those other younger does and, does that maybe have, they're still raising 2 fawns or whatever. Let them go and shoot some bigger does later in the season. And they're going to be excellent for the table.
Excellent. Yep.
So anyway, I like muzzleloader hunting, maybe a little bit.
Just a bit.
Anyway.
You see why I wanted one now when I was younger?
Well, you were 13. You had no idea. You just wanted to shoot a muzzleloader.
But it was fun, though.
I still remember the video of you shooting the muzzleloader.
Yeah, and the smoke goes all in my face.
So he's shooting due south, and the south wind is blowing. So when he pulls that trigger, all that smoke comes rolling right back on top of him, and he's like coughing like because all that black powder smoke.
We didn't think that through, did we?
No, we didn't think that quite through so much. But
it's fine though.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It was fun.
So there's our little segment on other than fishing.
Yep.
So let's jump right into listener question. How do you transport your kayak?
There's a few different ways to do it.
From the house to wherever you're going to go, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be based upon what kind of transportation do you have, right?
Start with
if you've got a car or an SUV. And when I think about this, I think of our buddy Chris Colin because he's got an SUV, or Gigi. Gigi's got an SUV.
Yep.
And how do they carry theirs?
On a rack on top of their vehicle.
They have a dedicated kayak rack that's made for their kayak that they, put their kayak on top of their vehicle and strap it down. Mm-hmm. Now, I've seen Robert put his PA on the top of his Expedition.
Really?
It takes 2 of you to put it up there.
Well, yeah.
And then he straps it down. So I wouldn't recommend like just, putting it on the top of your car and just strapping it down without having a dedicated rack.
No, you got to have a rack.
You wouldn't want to mess up the roof of your car or something like that. But a dedicated rack, and then follow the manufacturer's recommendations on how to tie your kayak down for that. Mm-hmm. So you don't see a whole lot of people putting them on top of their cars or SUVs. There's some, but one thing you've got to be physically strong enough to put it on the top of the kayak, right?
Yeah, you do.
Now there's a video that I've seen, and I think you watch her too, Natty Up North.
Yeah,
and she loads her Outback on top of her little SUV by herself. She shows a good way how to do it. How you can do it by yourself, even if maybe you're not the strongest person in the world. How you put one end up on it, then you lift the other end, and it's a good little video to go watch if you're small stature or if you need a way to learn how to load it by yourself. You're not, Chris or Gigi, where you're just man enough. They just snatch it up and lift it over their head and put it up there. So, but most of us, I'm going to say 80%.
Yeah.
How are we getting it there?
Truck and a bed extender.
Yeah. So it depends on the size of your kayak, right?
Yeah.
And the size of the bed of your truck. If you're somebody who, you've got a 3/4 ton diesel that has an 8-foot bed on it and you've got a 10-foot kayak, You can just leave the tailgate up and stick it in the back of the kayak and throw a strap over it and you're good to go.
Yeah. In my, the white Ford I had, I didn't need a bed extender for that feel free.
No.
11.5 foot, and I'm like a 7-foot bed maybe.
And then when you drop the tailgate, you get another 2 foot.
Exactly.
So you've got an 11.5 kayak and a 9-foot bed.
Yeah. So it's like I didn't need it.
You didn't need a bed extender. But let's say you have a Toyota Tundra that has, all of a 5.5 foot bed and you've got a 14-foot, Pro Angler.
Yeah.
You might need a bed because you want to support. That's the whole thing to think about.
Kayak.
However you're transporting the kayak, you want to support the bottom of it fully.
Mm-hmm.
When it's on the water, think about that. The whole bottom of your kayak is supported by the tension of the water underneath it.
Yep.
When you're transporting it, you need to make sure you can support as much of the bottom as you can.
Yes.
Not just the very front and the very end, but you need something in the middle of the kayak too to help support it. But so trucks, your bed extenders, allow you to do that. The bed extender, Roger mentioned this. He said the one that he got, it actually has a different configuration.
Really?
If you have like an SUV or a car, it will, as soon as it clears the bumper, it makes a 90-degree turn and goes to the height that you need it to match your roof.
Interesting.
So depending on what type of bed extender you have, you might be able to use something like that also for your car or SUV. So I thought that was he mentioned that. That was pretty interesting.
That is pretty cool.
The way that I usually now, if I'm just going fishing by myself, which these days it doesn't seem that's very often.
Nope.
But we built a kayak trailer. I took an old jet ski trailer and converted it into a kayak trailer that we can carry up to 4 kayaks on at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the time I'm carrying them on a trailer.
Yeah.
And I've seen where people, some of our yak pack, they just have a little it's a little one single,
like a single jet ski trailer,
a little easy loader trailer that the bunks fit the bottom of the kayak.
Mm-hmm.
So they use that and it makes it pretty easy to get on and off. So trailers are certainly a great option. Maybe if you don't have a car, you don't want to put it on the roof, or if you're carrying multiple kayaks.
Yep.
Trailers are a great option for that. I like to put the PVC pipe down, 3-inch PVC pipe, and then you can measure it so it fits right in those little grooves and those Hobies if you're using a Hobie or whatever kayak you're using. And it supports that whole kayak. It's not just laying flat on the wood. It kind of fits the curvature of the kayak and supports that whole thing. So that's what I like about that.
Good stuff.
Thing to think about though is ratchet straps.
Oh yeah.
You're going to have to tie it down somehow. If you use ratchet straps, be very, very careful that you do not over torque it.
Oh yeah, because that's definitely a thing you can do.
Because you can certainly put enough pressure on there that it could crack it or do that kind of thing. So if you could find the straps where you just pull tight,
cam buckle,
a cam buckle strap that's a good solid one, that's all you need.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea, though, too. We've done this on the kayak trailer.
Yes.
To have a secondary, we have 2 straps on each kayak, but we also have a backup hookup.
Emergency.
So if all else fails, that kayak
is not going to fly
doesn't
off.
come off it might be a little loose on the trailer, but it's not coming off the trailer.
Yes.
So.
Because my kayak on 2 times now has tried to come off that trailer.
So, talking about that, getting it to and from, another little quick thing we're talking about is how do you store your kayak? Where do you store your kayak?
Not outside.
That is you store it in your garage. You can hang it on the side. You can leave it on the floor of the garage. I like mine is on the floor of the garage.
Yeah.
But I put the 3-inch PVC pipe underneath it, and just so it supports the whole thing and it's not laying flat on the garage.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. The no outside in direct sunlight.
It's a big no-no.
It's where you do not want to leave your kayak. You can put it in a shed. You could put it in a barn. Give it some type of cover. Usually like it off of the ground. Support it in some way. But number 1, not outside. Not in direct sunlight.
Yes.
So, you had one other thought about supporting or keeping your kayak.
Yeah, I keep my kayak propped up. Oh, yeah. Well, and do not leave your do not use your landing gear to store your kayak. Like what I mean by that is like I have the Boondocks landing gear on my Hobie. So if you leave it on there and like if you just like prop the front up and you leave the landing gear on over time, like if it gets hot, that landing gear can start to like warp and
like it mess up your kayak.
Yeah, it'll mess up your kayak bad. So don't store it with your landing gear on.
Exactly. So
I just put mine on ice chests and prop it off the ground, and it's worked fine.
I was fishing white bass last year up in I'm just gonna say it, Stubblefield.
Everybody knows.
Was watching a guy, and he loaded his kayak into his Dodge Caravan.
Really?
Inside the Dodge Caravan.
That's a van, isn't it?
It's a van. And his kayak he laid down the front passenger seat, and it went from the glove compartment. And he had a caddy corner. It went all the way across to the very back, and he was just able to shut the tailgate of the or the back hatch of the cargo van.
By any means necessary. Necessity is the mother of invention.
Exactly. So he figured out a way. He didn't have a car, and I talked to the guy. I said, "Hey, that's pretty ingenious." He's like, "Yeah, I've got this. My wife's got the car. I want to go kayak fishing, so I just made it work." And I'm like, super smart.
Yeah.
So there's more than one way to get your kayak there. If you can't throw it in the back of your truck or whatever, figure out a way to get it there.
Mm-hmm.
So
that'll lead us into
white bass fishing, right? So normally, the white bass run generally in our part of Texas, middle of February, middle of March.
Mm-hmm.
But there is this nice little time before they actually get up in the creeks to spawn that they're staging out in front of the creeks. So it is now, starting right now, like now, is a good time to go look for those if the conditions are right and you've got a place to go look. So what are we looking for when we're talking about they're getting ready to stage to go do their thing up in the creeks.
So they're sitting probably in the deeper water on just outside of the river or the creek, wherever they're going to go up into and spawn.
Yeah. Or, or they're started up in the creeks, but they're in the major parts of the rivers.
Yeah.
Or the major parts of the creeks. But yeah, they're going to be in some of those deeper holes before then. Mm-hmm. And, you can catch them pretty much just like you would catch them up in the creeks. You just need to fish deeper.
Yeah.
So
rattle trap, jointed crankbait, maybe a smaller crankbait, maybe,
or still jig head, but maybe just a little heavier jig head.
Yeah, instead of going like 16th ounce, go like maybe a 3/8 or quarter ounce
or something. Yeah, quarter beat.
That's a little much for a white bass, but
it also depends on is there water current, that kind of thing.
True.
So one of the Salty Yak pack posted the other day. So if you're a member of the Salty Yak pack, go look, because you'll see it, and I'll just tell you a little bit about it. He went the other day, I think he said he caught 10, and he caught them all on a rattle trap.
Yep.
But he said he was fishing where the entrance is that goes back into to these creeks, and he was just throwing a rattle trap. He said he would count to the water there is anywhere from probably 5 foot, but there's a creek channel there that drops off into like 12 foot.
Yeah.
He said he was counting down to 4. And he just kind of slowly reeling it. Bam. Okay, and they were good sized ones.
Yeah,
I don't know that they were
some good tanks.
I don't know that they were big females. They might have just been males. I don't know.
Saw the males because the males go up first, don't they?
Males go up first. So it's starting. So rattle traps, heavier jig heads, but you can still fish your ultralight tackle.
Oh yeah,
for it, and you don't need a whole lot of tackle for this.
No.
Just some jig. I mean, I generally either it's a jig head or it's a Roadrunner. Yeah, Roadrunner head, putting some type of little soft plastic on the back of it. I've got some rattle traps I carry with me. Mm-hmm. I've got some rooster tails spinners.
Oh yeah.
Now those spinners go a little bit deeper, but you need to fish them somewhere where you're not going to run into a lot of cover.
Yeah.
And a lot of logs and stuff, because the dang treble hook will get caught up.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to fish them in the creeks, but this time of year, in those deeper holes,
it can definitely be done.
They can be money. Mm-hmm. They can be money in that. White, chartreuse, pink, give it all a try. Yeah, give it all a try. And you figure this time of year, we've had some rain, there's some flow coming down. Water's probably not going to be gin clear.
No.
It's probably going to be some dark colored water too.
Chocolate milk.
Yeah, could be. So, Yak Pack member Mark Dowden was the one who asked us to talk about white bass.
Okay.
So, shout out to Mark for that. Anything else you can think about?
White bass? Or?
Yeah. So, give it another 30 days and they'll be up in the creeks.
Yeah.
The males will be first, so you'll be catching the males first. But you don't have to wait. You can go now.
Mm-hmm.
Put your kayak in. I saw a post somewhere over on the Trinity River.
Yeah.
And now they were not only catching white bass.
It's crappie.
They were catching, byproduct, crappie.
So I remember me and my friend went last year around this, not around this time, it was more February. It was closer to Valentine's Day, but we had went and fished Willis Creek.
Mm-hmm.
And we fished from the mouth to almost the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Not a bite. So my thought was maybe they were still staged up outside and they hadn't fully gone in yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't think about that till I got off the water.
There you go.
So
yeah, that's the thing to think about. And, kind of like East Texas and kind of where we're fishing, kind of Central Texas, it's getting ready to happen.
Yeah, it's getting ready. It's not
further south. It's even a little bit later. It goes into April.
Yeah.
So
but that's crappie fishing.
Yeah. So it's, just know your waters. I know that a lot of people fish Yaywall Creek coming out of Somerville. And it
very popular.
I guarantee if I went and looked on social media right now, somebody has been fishing Yaywall Creek and catching white bass.
Yep.
Because you can start up in there in January, but that one will go all the way into March.
Mm-hmm.
So just get ready. Go out there and do it now, or get ready because it's coming.
Find you a good spot.
Don't miss it. Yeah,
do some scouting now.
Yeah, if you need some pointers, reach out to me. I can help you out with some areas if you're looking to get into it and you don't have a place to go. Because it's some of the stuff is like Yaywall Creek up in Somerville. You can walk it. You don't need a kayak.
Yeah. Could you kayak it?
You could. You'd have to put in down there at Nails Creek, and then it's a little bit of a pedal or a paddle. But of course, you could go into Nails Creek, which is kind of close.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to go into Yaywall, you'd have to go to the mouth and go in. And the weather conditions will need to be right because you'd be crossing some open water on the north end of Somerville.
All right.
So, let's talk a little bit about tackle management.
Or lack thereof.
Just, this was a listener question going, hey, what do you do about tackle management? And I got to thinking about it. I said, well, you know what? There's a lot of people that don't. I've got a plastic bag of jig heads and I've got a plastic bag of soft plastics and that's it. I'm ready to go.
Yep.
Very minimalistic. And, if that fits your personality,
go for it.
Great. If you're out there catching fish and having fun and, you're that minimalistic guy, you don't take a whole lot of tackle, great.
That's just not us.
I'm not you.
I'm not you either.
So I got to thinking, and I don't know, maybe I should take less, but here's the deal. So I've got that, I've got that Pro Angler, so I got a lot of room, right?
Exactly.
Maybe if, back when I had the native manta ray, I still took a little, but I didn't take as much.
Mm-hmm. But that Pro Angler has 6 rod holders.
Well, also,
actually like 8.
You've got the 2 little tackle boxes right between your legs.
Yep.
And so I keep my jigs heads there. I keep my bugs there.
I do the same.
So they're quick and easy to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the back, I have my little, the Tupperware dish that I stole from my wife that's got all my gulp stuff in it.
Yep.
And then so that's 3. If you want to count that one, that's 3.
Yeah, we'll count it.
And then I have 2 more of the bigger Plano boxes.
So
I've got one of the ones that's probably like 3 inches deep, and it's all my soft plastics.
Same.
And then I have another one that's probably 1.5 inches deep.
Hard baits.
And it's all my hard baits. It's my top waters. It's my Miradines. Yep. It's all of those.
Same.
So that's what I've got. So I'm rolling with 5.
I've got 4.
And I'm usually rolling with
4 rods.
3 or 4. But I only use 1.
Yeah, I don't know. I take them, but probably 80% of the time I'm using 1. Even though, but you never know. You never know if you come up on some birds, maybe you want to throw top water, or if you come upon some tailing redfish or a school of redfish, you can sight cast to them, the bug.
Yeah, I will have, especially summertime, springtime, I will have a topwater.
Oh, yeah.
And if I know I'm going back up in the marsh, I've usually got a bug tied on my little favorite spinning rod.
Flats bug.
So, and then I have my 16th ounce Slayer jig, on the other one. So there's 3 rods. Now, there's been many a day I went out and never thrown the topwater.
Yeah, same.
Because the conditions weren't right.
But hey, it's good to have.
I guess.
I take my 4th rod it's always normally like a medium.
Mm-hmm.
So I can use weedless hooks.
I do that where if I'm using a weedless hook, I put it on my medium rod because it gives me more backbone to set the hook.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got down to it, you could use it as a popping cork rod.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. If you really wanted to, I mean, I still have only thrown it like once, but I don't know if I'm just not that patient.
I guess it's not
I gotta be moving.
It's not my confidence bait.
Not mine.
So we're talking about the popping cork. Kevin will catch the poot out of fish with a popping cork. He loves a popping cork.
Yeah.
But I'm not all about it. Anyway, that's just me.
It's me too.
We're all a little bit different. So, Hey, there you go. Some of the other tackle management stuff I've seen, some guys don't carry a crate. They just carry.
Really?
I could probably get by. I need the crate to carry usually my sunscreen and my bug spray and, have something else back there. But, tackle wise, I could just probably get by the 2 little trays between my legs and 1 tray if I stuck it under my seat.
Yeah.
Probably could get by with that. I'm not going to, probably.
Neither am I, but hey.
So, it's personal preference.
Yeah.
Whether you use a crate for me is a good place to throw stuff and makes it easy carrying it back from the kayak.
Or you could be like Chad. Ice chest.
Oh, well. You remember that picture?
I do.
So for those who hadn't seen it, we went to Pack
This was 2 years ago.
It's been 2 years ago. And so we had one of our friends, Chad, who's married, got kids.
Yep.
And his tackle box was an old igloo ice chest. Old red igloo ice chest. It had the little squares pressed into the top of it. And he probably had replaced the hinges a couple times, probably. It was that old. And then we have our other friend, Ryan, who has no kids and is not married. And what has he got for his
H crate?
He's got his Hobie H crate. So
crate with those all waterproof tackle boxes, all nice and neat.
Yeah. So it was kind of funny. We just made a parody of, married with children versus not married and no children. So, there you go.
Yeah.
Anything about tackle management, how we carry stuff, or how you've seen other people carry it? I've seen people just use Ziploc bags and carry.
Yeah, I mean,
they don't. It seems like for us kayakers, you're one or the other. You're like, I don't take very much, or I take everything but the kitchen sink.
Sometimes you'll take that too.
And as I get wiser, I pare it down a little bit because I've like taken lures out that I've never used.
I still got stuff in there that have and want to throw, but I just never. I still think you and me need to have a little competition.
You just want to do one lure?
One lure. It's a lure neither of us use.
Golden spoon.
Okay.
So you didn't have one in mind?
I didn't have one in mind. I was just thinking it cannot be a soft plastic.
Cannot be a Slayer Morning Glory color
exactly.
Soft plastic.
It cannot be a soft plastic, period.
What are we betting?
Lunch?
$20,
$50.
I'll take your money.
You haven't yet.
I'll let you buy me lunch. Oh, if I haven't yet. Okay, young Padawan. All right. Yeah, I could be one day. You know what? Hey, here it is. So we're doing the Salty Yak pack. Freeze your yak off on February the 7th, right?
We are.
You're going to be off on the 6th, right?
I am.
Did we talk about going down there and fishing before?
We did.
February 6th.
Let's do it.
Head-to-head competition.
I'm down.
We'll have to figure out what lure we're going to use.
I'm going to kick your butt again.
So if you have a suggestion of what lure me and Nicholas should use for our February 6th father against son fishing adventure, shoot it to me. saltyyakpack.com.
Let us know.
saltyyakpack@gmail.com. How about that? Shoot it to us and give us some suggestions. And if we pick it, you might get something. You might get something. We're doing our mystery guest call.
Yep.
So let's pick up the phone now and let's see who we can get on the phone.
Let's do it.
Hello?
Hello, Ben.
Just a second. Sorry, no, my phone does this weird thing where I got to restart it and I answer and it's automatically in speaker mode.
Ah, you are on the podcast.
All right. Well, everyone knows my secrets.
So we are speaking with one of our Salty Yak members, Ben Byer. Ben, tell us a little bit about yourself, like how long you been kayak fishing, how long you been fishing, what kind of kayak you got.
All right. Well, pretty much grew up fishing when I could, anytime I could find time. Really didn't, I guess, have the access until I was 16 to go out just about every weekend. And then got in school and fishing kind of stopped. So first went kayak fishing back in 2011 during the big drought, catching white bass there on Somerville off of the Main Lake Flats because the creeks never got enough water in them to for the spawn. So,
I remember that.
Yeah. And then moved up to Amarillo in 2012 and really didn't do any fishing until, I'd go like once a year or something like that and rent a kayak from ACK. And then 2016, we moved back to Bryan College Station, thank God. And I got a kayak for Christmas. So I got a 2016 Coosa HD from Jackson.
Nice. When you were in Amarillo, did you ever do any fishing up there at Lake Meredith?
No, there was no water in it at that time.
That's right. That's about the time we started mule deer hunting up there. And you're right, it didn't have any water in it. But now it's like halfway full.
Yeah. And I've heard every theory about what happened there. Someone trying to basically dry it up to kill the area, and just mismanagement. I think they spent a couple of years cleaning out like salt cedars from what's the name of the river that runs?
The Canadian River.
The Canadian River. That's right. Because there's another lake around Logan, New Mexico.
Yep.
That was always full even during the droughts, and it's also fed by the Canadian River. So
anyway, what's your main kind of fishing right now? I know you're living, you live in the Bryan College Station area. So
yeah. So I guess most of the time when I go, it's ditch pickles.
That's okay.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with it. That's what I grew up doing. And I'll be honest, when I was in high school, I had envisions of having one of these 21 foot bass boats someday. But yeah, especially with two young kids, I don't even have time to make use of a boat, even if I had the money for something like that. So.
Understood. So, Somerville, Gibbons Creek, Lake Bryan.
I pretty much split my time between Somerville. Probably been there more than Gibbons now. I've been to Bryan once. I just wanted to try a fly rod from a kayak back during the early fall. And so I just went over to Bryan. And I don't know, I might start fishing Bryan more just because it's right here.
It's close, but it's, if I was rating them on 5 stars, I'd probably have to give it like 2 stars as far as fishing. But, we've talked about the redfish there and still trying to get a confirmation of actually somebody catching one. So,
yeah. And I don't know what's happening there. I just got a deep cranking rod. It's 8 foot long. You can throw up to, I got some DD 22s.
Yep.
So I might go out there and try deep cranking and see if I can't catch any redfish. But I don't know what's happening with that. If maybe the bass are eating them off when they're young fry or what.
I don't know. To me, that lake never really had a whole lot of forage fish. Mm-hmm. So I just really don't know. But they're stocking them in there, so at least I would think the biologist would know that, or suspect that they're going to at least make it a little bit. So who knows?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah,
I keep hoping.
Question. Yeah, I mean, how many times have they stocked it? At least 4 or 5 times now, haven't they?
Yeah, in the last, since 2016. Yeah, so the ones they stocked in 2016 should be big enough to catch.
Yeah, and if they're for whatever reason just something's taking them out, you think after 2 or 3 stockings they'd give up. But
yeah, I don't know. So how often do you get to the coast?
Well, last year I made it a couple times. Probably spent a total of about 5 days on the water on the coast. I guess I got to count my misadventure in East Matagorda as 6. So, but it's posted on the page there. Someone suggested getting a motel, going down there the night before. So might have to try to do that this year because I'm not even sure. We had a family situation that came about last week, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to make it to Port Aransas this year. So we'll see. But we'll do what we can. And I got 2 young boys, so I'm also wanting to try to learn more than just the spring creek fishing of the white bass, and also some crappie spots. So whenever they get a little older, I can put them on fish. But it's kind of funny. I went out in the fall after white bass, and Randa Academy got me some jigging spoons. And I got out there on the main lake. I saw fish kind of surfacing. I saw fish down, towards the bottom on the raft. I started jigging that thing. I caught like a little 13.5-inch largemouth. So wasn't expecting that, but
yeah, I love chasing the white bass, and we've done it a lot over the years in Somerville and Lake Belton, but I've never really had a whole lot of and I know guys just tear them up jig fishing, throwing a spoon, throwing a slab, but I guess I don't know that technique, or I don't know how to do that. I can either catch them throwing a rattle trap or trolling or something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even in the creeks, I see a lot of people fishing with jigs for them and the beetle spins. But I've literally caught everything on a rattle trap.
Well, funny that you should mention that, because that's one of the topics we're talking today on the podcast is white bass fishing. And I don't know if you looked at the Salty Yak yesterday on the Yak Pack, but Austin Garrettson posted some pictures of some whites he caught up out of Conroe, and he caught them all on a rattle trap. So
yeah, and back in 2011, the guy told me to go with red eye shad. Same concept of bait, or lure, I should say. But that's why I caught all my white bass that day or those times that I went out to Somerville when they're on the main lake flat. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm trying to figure out simple ways for the main lake on that. Just with young kids, you don't want them cast out there and reel it back at this speed. You want to make it a little bit easier. So
give us your most memorable day kayak fishing.
Oh, that'd have to be the first day I got in the salt with my kayak.
Okay.
It was out at not SS Flats. What's the name of that? Wilson's Cut. And this is down south of Port Aransas, and there was an old access spot that got you basically. Now there's like a boat ramp that you can launch from, but it's a half-mile extra paddle. And this original spot they closed down after Harvey. And so you literally cross the cut, maybe 20 yards, and you're on the flats.
Wow.
Caught 19 trout that day.
Ooh.
A couple ladyfish and one gaff top. But I just kind of grinded it out. I didn't know really what to be looking for. I knew a little bit, that was back in 2017, and tried back in some marshy looking areas, wasn't catching anything. So finally I just started drifting the flats with a popping fork and found some areas and just kept drifting until I caught something.
Well, there you go. 19 trout. What was the biggest one?
Biggest one was 19 inches.
That's a solid trout.
Yeah, I got 3 keepers that day. One was 15.5, the other was 16, and then that 19-inch. So I kept those 3. And the rest were all dinks. But, it was first time in a kayak. was also the first day, coincidentally, that I turtled a kayak. And,
I guess I need to send you a sticker, don't I? You know which sticker I'm talking about?
Yeah, flip me over.
Yeah.
If you see it, flip me over.
If you can read this, flip me over. So yeah. But you have to put that. I've got to make a trip to the post office and mail some stickers anyway. So, what color is your kayak?
It's green.
Okay, so a black sticker would probably look pretty good on there.
Yeah.
I think I got a black one.
No.
So, Ben, thank you for letting us call and bug you this. I guess this afternoon. I guess that's what it is right now. So,
I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yes, sir. Keep it up. I enjoy it very much.
All right. We'll talk to you later, Ben.
All right. Bye.
All right, everybody. That was Ben Byer. He's one of our Salty Yak Pack members. And as we go along, before we close this out, we'll tell you a little bit more about the Salty Yak Pack if you're interested in it. Mm-hmm. Hot tip. So I told you our hot tip was coming from our New York listener.
Mm-hmm.
Rob Kwan. So I told you that one of my shout out, Ron. Thanks for listening, buddy.
Thank you.
I told you that one of my goals for the year was to track my mileage.
Uh-huh.
Well, Rob reminded me. He said, "Hey, I heard you mention you were a bicyclist or a cyclist. I haven't rode a bicycle in a couple of days, but anyway, he's like, if you have the Strava." Strava. If you have the Strava app, you can track your kayaking on that.
Really?
So it actually has, if you go and download the Strava app, put it on your phone, it actually it looks like it has a little paddle. And so whenever you're about to start, you click the paddling thing and it starts your GPS tracking. Okay. There's many apps that do that.
Yeah.
But here's what I love about the Strava app.
Okay.
Number one, it keeps a summary of your total mileage for you.
No.
So you wouldn't have to go back and add them all up at the end of the year. It keeps a running total of your mileage.
Oh, geez.
The second thing is that you can make those tracks private.
Really?
So if you're on the Strava app and you don't make them private, anybody on Strava could look you up and see where you did a bike ride or where you went paddling.
Yeah.
If you make them private, nobody can see them.
That's pretty cool.
So you can kind of keep your, if you've got your favorite fishing spot, you don't want to kind of put all the information out there.
Your favorite fishing spot that only you know about, right? You're the only one that fishes it.
Would you believe I still have places that you haven't been?
Oh, absolutely.
It's true. I have places that you have never seen before.
I know.
That I have caught fish.
I bet.
I would tell you about them, but
I
just hadn't got around yet.
I bet not.
So there might be some I take to the grave. I don't know. We'll see. Depends how February 6th goes. But I love that. So if you want to track it, hot tip, download the Strava app. And actually something that's kind of neat, you can go in there like Rob. I found Rob and friended him.
Yeah.
On the Strava app. And he did the same for me. So you can have we can have a little Salty Yak Pack Strava group if we wanted to. And keep up with
that would be interesting.
Who's doing the most mileage, who's doing the most paddling or pedaling.
It won't be me.
Won't be you?
Won't be me.
Well, I've got to beat 50. You could still. Well,
I could go fish like Ladybird. And I guess
you could go lakes or something.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
True. Very true.
So I just got to beat 53 days.
Go for 55.
I think I've only been fishing once this year. All right, we're going to fix that maybe Wednesday.
Fix it.
So that's our hot tip for that. So we talked about freeze your yak off.
Freeze your yak off.
Let's back up here. This is a good time to talk about the Salty Yak Pack. So this is our private group. So you can go on Facebook and you can find the Salty Yak. We do a lot of posting on there. We have the Salty Yak Instagram. You can go follow us on there. A lot of the posts, I'm able to post on both of them the same thing.
Yeah.
It just shares it on the same thing. But we have the Salty Yak Pack, and that is our private group. Doesn't cost you anything to get in. It's free. But the thing about it is you have to answer 3 questions to get in.
It's not hard.
It's not hard. Not hard at all. But the other thing, this is where we share, hey, guys, we went fishing at beep, and we caught, 25 white bass, and this is the lure beep that we were using. We put that information out there on the Salty Yak pack so that, it helps those that are in the group. Mm-hmm. Or if you're looking for somebody to go fishing with, it's a great place to say, hey, I'm going to, Christmas Bay tomorrow. Is there anybody that wants to, jump in? Everybody that I've done this with and met through the Salty Yak pack has just been outstanding people. We've had guys and girls come along, and it's been great fishing with them. Some of them have turned into, obviously we don't put out where we go all the time. No. We don't. It's not an open invite all the time, but I've had guys that we've met and girls that we've met doing the Yak Pack stuff that we've, kind of like a private invite saying, hey, hey, we're going over here. Y'all want to go?
Yeah.
So, they've kind of clicked with our group, and so they've occasionally got some private invites to go with us. But whenever we're doing something, where anybody can go, or if you're just looking for a partner to go fishing with, the Salty Yak Pack is a great place to do that.
Yeah, somebody will answer, whether it be Carrie or somebody.
Yeah, usually I get, my schedule, I can fish a few days.
Yeah.
So
must be nice.
The Salty Yak Pack Freeze Your Yak Off Team Tournament.
Should be fun.
This will be fun. This will be our 4th Yak Pack event. So you have to be a member of the Yak Pack to come participate.
You do.
But this is just a fun get together. Let's go fishing. We'll have a little contest. And you can come fish and not even be in the contest.
No, you can just come fish and just hang out.
Yeah, you can just come fish and just hang out with us. You don't have to, but if you're so inclined and you would like to enter our little fishing tournament, you can certainly do that.
Yeah.
So just quick, if you go to the Salty Yak Pack, the rules are all there. Just a quick rundown. It's just lures only, no live bait.
Or dead bait.
We're going to meet at a central location that I have not announced yet.
Really?
There'll be a check-in. I will be there between a certain time frame, so you and your team can come by and check in, and that's when you will pay your entry fee of $20, and then you will go to your fishing location and launch and fish, and then we will have a check-in location where everybody has to be back in there to check in. If the weather's good, I've got a plan where we're going to do like some more barbecue and that kind of thing and kind of hang out.
Okay.
If the weather's bad, probably not.
Yeah.
But we still will have a check-in location, and that's where whoever gets, we'll add up the points and stuff. So the way we do this is it's a point system. You get 1 point for every legal trout, redfish, and flounder you catch. Okay. Now you can bring that fish in to be measured, like keep it to eat, but do not bring in more than whatever your legal limit is.
Yeah.
So if you end up catching more than your legal limit,
CPR,
catch, photo, release, measure it lay it on the measuring board, get a good picture of the length. And we're just, we're looking for legal fish now. So this is the team tournament part of it. So the team that catches the most legal fish is going to be, we're going to do first, second, and third. So I think first place gets 60%. It's 100% payout. I'm not keeping any money for myself or anything. 60% goes to first place. I think 30% goes to second place and 10% goes to third place.
Okay.
For the team tournament.
Seems fair.
I'm throwing a wrinkle in it though.
Uh-oh.
Where, there is the mystery lure. If your team so desires, you'll be given a mystery lure. It will be wrapped in a box that you will not know what's inside. And you will not be able to open the mystery lure until 0700, which is lines in the water time. Okay? So you can't get it at the check-in, open it, and see what kind of lure it is, and then call your buddy or somebody, one of your other friends on another team, and go, "Oh, you need to get it or don't get it because it's it's something that we'll never catch it's a flying lure or something like that, right?" So you can't do that. You can't open it and see what it is until 0700, which is lines in the water.
Okay.
So, but you have the option. You can either opt in and take the lure. Doesn't cost anything.
Nope.
And you know what? The lure is yours to keep. When we get done with the tournament, one of y'all can, if you're team members, you can have the lure.
Yeah.
I don't want it back. Okay. So, but if you opt in and you take the lure and you catch a fish on that lure,
mm-hmm.
you get a 0.5 point bonus for that fish.
Yes.
So I would like a picture with the lure in the fish's mouth, but that's okay. I know that lures come out, honor system.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fun tournament, honor system. So every fish you catch on the mystery lure, you get that's a legal fish, you get a 0.5 point bonus for. So whoever has the most points at the end, first, second, and third. That's the team tournament. So we have a side pot of biggest redfish by length.
Yep.
Smallest fish.
This is a fun one.
By length, but it has to be a redfish, trout, or flounder.
Yes.
And that one has to be CPR.
Yeah, you can't keep a 9-inch redfish.
Yeah, so CPR, throw it back in for that one. And we're going to do biggest trout because it's that time of year.
It's then big trout time.
So these are individual events.
Yes.
So you have to pay your entry fee individually. It's not a team event. And entry fee is $10 for the redfish, $5 for smallest fish,
mm-hmm.
and $5 for biggest trout. Why? Because I really don't like trout that much. So
you just don't like trout.
More emphasis on redfish, right?
Yeah, so am I.
There we go. And it's 100, so
100%
whoever
payout.
goes in gets, whoever has the biggest trout or redfish and whoever has the small, it's 100% payout. So whoever enters it. And right now we have 11 teams, I think. So 22 people.
Mm-hmm.
And I know things change, but right now we got 22 people. So, your biggest redfish, everybody goes in. That could be $220 for biggest redfish. So, Could be. Anything else about, is there anything else you'd like to know about the Salty Yak Pack Freeze Your Yak Off event?
Where?
Where
are we going to be fishing?
I've always told y'all that y'all podcast listeners are the smart ones, and you're going to get it here first. So where are we fishing for the Freeze Your Yak Off event? Here's where. Dun, dun, dun.
Where is it? I'm scared.
You're scared?
No, not really.
So here's what we're going to do. It's going to be an area.
Okay.
You're going to be able to fish from Surfside.
Surfside and Freeport?
Yeah, the Freeport area.
Okay.
Surfside, all the way east to San Luis Pass.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So that would include Drum Bay, Christmas Bay, Bass Drop Bayou, Coal Pass, Salt Lake, Cox Lake, all that area up there too.
Mm-hmm.
So Swan Lake, all that area. So from Surfside, where the bridge comes over the intercoastal where Bridge Bait is, from there east all the way to San Luis Pass. So no beach, we're not going to BTB.
Nope.
So got to be fishing the bays or the marshes. But that's going to be the fishing area. So if you want to go pre-fish, which is allowed.
Yeah, you can pre-fish.
Knock your lights out. Right now, the water is low.
Oh, yeah.
Low.
Super low.
Low. Yeah, you were saying that Kevin posted some pictures of
it was the causeway, I think.
Yeah.
There was pictures and videos of the causeway being super low in Tiki Island.
So we'll see.
Ridiculously low.
So we'll see what happens come February the 7th. Is it still super low or
Hope
whatever?
Not, but
it could certainly impact where you go find fish.
Oh yeah.
Also, I don't know. I don't want to give any tips away.
You actually going to try to win this time?
Actually, am I going to try to win?
Yeah.
Yes. Me and my partner Brandon, team. We're going to be Team Cold Beer. We're yes, we're going to try to win. But since you and Kevin have teamed up together for Team Fiddle Faddle, and y'all didn't even make any. Y'all didn't argue about that.
I don't care.
You know why I picked Fiddle Faddle?
Why?
Because everybody loves a little Fiddle Faddle. So, you got anything else you want to talk about about the
I'm
freeze your
excited.
yak off.
I'm going to try to go for a three-peat.
A three-peat? Well, it does have to be a team. It's not an individual one. So we'll put it
I can at least do three-peat on the redfish.
Yeah, we'll put something on for an individual tournament here probably in the springtime. So
but I'm looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun.
It should be a lot of fun. We either going to freeze our yaks off, or it's going to be 80 degrees and it'll be a beautiful day. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
So I've had a lot of y'all listen out or reach out and want some Salty Yak stickers. I still have them. So I've got to make a trip to the post office on Monday and mail a few more out. So if you're interested in a Salty Yak sticker, which is just the logo, it says Salty Yak. If you've seen the YouTube videos and everything else, you've seen what it looks like. I have them in 7-inch sizes, which is a good size that would go on a Yeti mug or something like that. And I have some 10-inch size ones, which is a good size for a window or a kayak or something like that. So in the small ones, I have black ones, I have white ones, I have some red ones, and I have some blue ones. In the 10-inch size, I just have black and white. So when you send me the email at saltyyak or thesaltyyak@gmail.com, send me what color and what size you want. Okay? Because that just saves me on the email chain. Because if you say, hey, I want some stickers, then
what size?
I got to respond.
Color?
Yeah, and so sizes and colors,
address,
mailing address,
yeah,
and I will get them out to you. It doesn't cost you anything. I just appreciate you wanting to get the Salty Yak name out there and do a little free advertising for me. So I'm just this is my Monday will be my second trip to the post office.
It's awesome.
I had to go buy envelopes big enough for the 10-inch stickers, but I still got plenty of them. So if y'all want some, email me and send me your address and send me what colors and what sizes you want, and we'll do that. So let's talk about right quick. We'll finish this up with some dates that you can actually go fishing with us if you want to.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
So if you would like to go hang out with us and go do a little fishing. So this is only for y'all adventurous types. This first one.
Yup.
Matagorda Island. This is where we go to Port O'Connor. We put in at Port O'Connor at the Port O'Connor Fishing Center, and we pedal and paddle our way out to Matagorda Island where it used to be the state park, and we camp out there for 2 nights. We fish our way out there, and then we fish out there for 2 days, and then we fish our way back home. And we eat what we catch.
Yep.
Well, I've already got somebody that is down for taking a boat.
No,
so
really?
we'll have a
mothership.
We'll have a mothership, 1 for safety, 2 to take a barbecue pit, and maybe a couple of coolers out there for us. They're not going to take a whole lot, but because most of the stuff you need to be prepared to carry it on your kayak. Okay, your water, your clothes and stuff. You need to carry it on your kayak. So we'll probably do a whole episode of the podcast just on that here pretty quick.
I'm ready.
As we're doing it. But
PTO is approved.
You have a good time. Are you going to hammock it or are you going to sleep on the ground?
I haven't decided yet.
Okay. Because we'll talk about it, but there's 2 ways to sleep. You could either
hammock or
there's some old awnings there that you can stretch a hammock in between, or you can sleep in a little pop-up tent. Or we actually had another idea where we might throw a couple of cots onto the mothership.
Yeah.
And you could just sleep on a cot. So just food for thought there. We'll talk more about that later. But that is May 3rd through the 5th. That's a Monday through Wednesday. Okay. So if you're interested in doing that, our other one that's going to be coming up, you might put on your calendar, is PAC, Point of Shins Kayaks. So you can go watch the YouTube stuff. You can see we've been there. That's October 10th through the 14th. It's a Monday through
Thursday.
Is it Monday or Sunday? You're going to make me look, aren't you?
I'm
Pull it up
right now.
because don't we go down on? I think the 10th is Sunday.
The 10th is a Sunday.
So
yeah, the 10th is a Sunday.
we leave Sunday morning, get down there Sunday afternoon, and we fish Sunday evening. Then we fish Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, pack up and come back on Thursday.
Yep.
For those boys who are living in Texas and going to do this, that's how we do it. So if you're one of our listeners in Louisiana or Georgia or our South Carolina guy that I've been talking to, he's coming. He's already put it on his calendar.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Sweet.
So we've already reserved the boathouse for that weekend, but it only sleeps 8. And I'm pretty sure
we're going to have more.
Our core group has already got 8. So
have to reserve somewhere else.
Yeah, they've got several camping trailers there. The last time we were down there, we stayed in the camper that slept 8.
Mm-hmm.
So there's several camping trailers. When you put, for $150 a night, if you put 6 people in a trailer, it's really cheap.
Oh yeah, that's cheap.
You can literally do this thing. If you're not renting a kayak, which you can down there, they got paddle kayaks and pedal kayaks that you can rent.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have your own kayak and you bring your own kayak, it's a $300 trip for the week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Between your food, because we kind of, do group meals, that kind of thing. But, we'll talk more about that as we get, but so Matagorda Island, all open, whoever wants to come, and, Pack, all open, whoever wants to come to that one too.
Mm-hmm.
So, you got anything else?
No, sir.
Got nothing else? All right, close us out.
Well, as we always say, wear your life jacket.
Somebody out there loves y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. And we will be talking to y'all later.
Later, guys.